All right, Lori, can you hear us?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I think the volume's
She
down.
heard Andrea. She notice how she turned
Yeah.
when she heard.
All right, let me pop in there and
All right.
get her going.
They still have it muted.
Oh, asked to unmute.
I already did it.
All right, can you hear us now?
I can.
Here,
I can hear you.
I cannot.
let's go. Headphones. Microphone. Somebody say something.
Hello.
Hello.
I heard it in there.
Are your speakers turned all the way up, Lori?
They were, but it wasn't working.
We can hear Lori.
But how do I
She
change
can't
that?
hear us, is what she's saying, yeah.
Speaker.
I don't know how much. I'll just go in there. I got
Just
it.
give me a second.
Decided today if I ever open a restaurant, I'm gonna do, whatever the dinner options are the night before, just turn them into nachos the next day for lunch. We had I made beef and broccoli last night, I don't know what, it's new watch, I made beef and broccoli for dinner last night. And I cut the beef up real small this morning, heated it up, threw it on top of some cheese, oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you're good.
Can you hear me now, Mayor?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay, we're good. I apologize for that.
No worries. Technical difficulties happen.
The green chili, eggs, cheese.
all right.
eggs, cheese.
The time is 7:02 p.m. and I will call this meeting to order. May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Reichel,
Here?
Mayor Pro Tem Hanrahan,
Here.
Trustee Britnall,
Here,
Trustee Clausen,
Here.
Trustee Engelhardt,
Here.
Trustee Poston,
Here.
Trustee Seifert.
Here.
All right. May we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, be seated. The first item on tonight's agenda is public comments. Persons desiring to make a public comment on items not on the agenda, please activate the raised hand function in the meeting program, and then we will go to public comment in the chambers with us. Do we have any hands raised in the meeting program or any emails or phone calls in regards to non-agenda items?
We have no raised hands, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
We have no phone calls.
All right. Okay, do we have anyone signed in?
John Lepkowski is here.
All right, John, come on up to the table, state your name and address, and the floor is yours for 3 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is John Lepkowski, 1098 Stony Ridge. Been a resident of Silt over 12 years. Got a nice copy of your survival guide for residents, how to live within the Silt Municipal Code. And what I feel is somewhat of a danger is there are tree limbs across the sidewalk. And it says here, trees and plants that to be trimmed, providing 10-foot of clearance over sidewalks, 13-foot of clearance over roadways. No limbs shall obstruct street lamps or view of an intersection. I'm not an artist, but I drew something up that I make a suggestion to the trustees.
I'll take it, I'll pass it around.
Okay. And to be put in the water bill. Maybe 10-20% of the people would comply, and it would save on enforcement. When you get to enforcement, and I know code enforcement's been a problem here for years. So, as I stated to Mr. Mann, I could probably go outside and walk around this building and found 6 violations. That's all I have to say. Oh, I'm not soliciting business. I am a licensed arborist, but this is not my type of work. But I will, if somebody's a disabled veteran, I will trim their trees, providing the town will pick up the branches. Some of you have my number. Joe does. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
John?
Thank you,
Welcome.
Okay. Do we have anybody else signed in for public comment?
We do not.
All right. Okay. Then moving on, the next item on the agenda would be the consent agenda. It contains the minutes of the August 11th, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting, a letter of support for the CRV EDP Trails Grant, and resolution number 29, Series 2025, a resolution of the Board of Trustees supporting the inclusion of the Shoshone water rights through the state's in-stream flow program and urging the Colorado Water Conservation Board to accept the proposed acquisition. Would anyone like to discuss any of those
Is this mine to keep?
separately or make a motion?
I have some notes about item number 2, the letter of support for the CRV EDP Trails Grant. I took part in a meeting, I think it was last Wednesday night. I was invited because they thought I was on the CRV EDP board, but I went anyway, and then they realized I wasn't. But it was a number of local outdoor recreation small businesses, one representative of an agriculture farm, and some representatives from the Colorado Middle Watershed. I might be mispronouncing that. If so, I apologize. The purpose of the grant isn't just for trails. It's actually to form a regional coalition to work within the Colorado State, what are they calling it? The Colorado Outdoor Strategy. And they have a big PDF, like 136 pages. I think Garfield County is one of maybe 8 or 9 statewide that are members of it. So it's not simply for trails, it's for the formation of this group. Everybody there seemed to be enthusiastic about it, so it will probably be formed regardless of the outcome of this grant. But I just wanted to fill everybody in that it's not simply for trails. The purposes are more business within the outdoor industry, which will then trickle down to conservation and also factor in agriculture. And they want to make sure that it's a combination of motorized and non-motorized, which I think is an important thing here where we live. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that as well. That's it.
And I have a question that you may have the answer to. So is
Please.
this, for the entire Colorado River in the state, or what is the area that this covers?
Western Garfield County.
Okay.
Essentially the Colorado River Valley, starting in Newcastle out to and possibly just past Parachute out towards Quebec,
Okay.
depending on whether or not they want to participate out there.
Okay. Thank you.
And the initial grant is $50,000 to $150,000 for either a 1-year or 2-year term, and it requires a 10% match from the membership of that group. So we made sure we told the stakeholders about that as well.
Okay. Any other comments on the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by trustee Seifert to approve the consent agenda as presented, seconded by trustee Engelhardt. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Do any board members have any conflicts of interest with agenda items tonight?
No, sir.
I have none either. Any agenda changes by the board or staff?
No agenda changes. There is a discussion point that Mayor Pro Tem Hanrahan would like to bring up later related to a grant, a marketing grant that the Chamber of Commerce is looking to move forward with a sample letter of support that we'll talk about.
I'm happy to do that during my comments as well.
Is that enough time?
I believe
Just to
it
squeeze
is.
in there? Okay, all right. We'll just have you do it during your board comments then. Okay. Anything else?
Not here.
All right. Moving right along to our branding reveal, and I will turn this over to Manager Mann.
I am going to kind of move this on relatively quickly to our consultant that we've been working with, Krista Pontius. But I just kind of wanted to tee everything up. The subcommittee that you formed to look at and kind of do some of the heavy lifting in terms of looking at the grant has met several times, half a dozen times, to go over various iterations of a potential logo. We have arrived basically at a logo that takes into consideration all the key factors that came out of the brand discovery exercise that the board went through early on in the process. And with that, I'll turn it over to Krista, and she can do the big brand reveal.
So a picture's worth 1,000 words. I don't have a lot to say. But I do want to talk about what there is to say about the identity. So branding is an identity, and the identity is a tagline, a logo, and all of the attributes that are behind that. We also have a nameplate as well.
Keep going.
That's okay. I speak to the room. I'm okay.
You're good though, Pat.
So there's a nameplate, there's the overall brand identity, and there is the tagline. So the tagline is Colorado's hometown. I'll just tell you that before we reveal this. We had talked about being Western Colorado's hometown, and we've refined that a little bit, so that's something that would be great to get comment on. But could everybody on the committee raise their hand, please, so everybody can see who's been noodling around on this? Okay. So this.
I can barely hear you on the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
So if you could get closer to a microphone or speak up so that the resident that is on the meeting can also hear. Pretty please.
Okay, so we've got Colorado's hometown, we've got Silt, which is the nameplate, and we have the entire design. And we will just pass it backwards. You can be the first to see it. Sure, let's pass it around. So let's just pass it around and all of you can take a look at it.
Thank you, Jim.
And like I said, a picture is worth 1,000 words, so happy to hear your feedback.
So I will just add a couple things as you're looking at it. You know, we went through and did all these, the branding discovery and the discovery of what the town is and what it's meant to be and what your desire is. And, you know, we kind of talked about the Western Slope or the West Slope's hometown, because Silt's a hometown. That's what a lot of the commentary when we went through the discovery work was, this is hometown. As we went through the process, it seemed as though it was almost too parochial to just say it's the Western Slope's hometown, and that it made more sense to just say Colorado's hometown. There's a couple other features that are included in the brand, and the tree is very specific. It's an indigenous tree to the area. But I think one of the key factors that was included was the root system. As we talk about a hometown, it gets rather ethereal, but you're talking about laying down your roots. And so we wanted to show a representation of the roots being laid down. I think we all felt that it was important to maintain the established 1915 in there somewhere, but then balance out the look of the logo to meet some of these key factors.
I have some feedback. I was just looking at the picture and I feel that Silt is very rooted. So I almost feel like the tree could be longer and the word Silt could be the root of the tree potentially. And I agree with the word Western. Somehow for me, when I looked at the bottom, I don't know, just didn't sit right. Almost gave more of a, I don't know, but I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I like the Colorado's hometown just because it simplifies it. And with the tagline, you don't want it to be too verbose or too many things because then it gets lost. You lose your punch.
What type of tree is it?
It's a cottonwood.
Okay, I just wanted to say that because
Here's
I'm
not
gonna,
out of the-
yeah. People are gonna be giving me a hard time going, that's an elm tree. I'm like, no, it's a cottonwood, it's a cottonwood.
This is
don't
a
wanna have a tree.
cottonwood, and it's actually inspired by the cottonwood down at Miner's Claim.
Oh, okay.
Sat down there one day, really observed everything in the area. The graphic designer and I looked at a lot of aerial footage, not aerial footage, but video online and, maps and everything. I, of course, have spent a lot of time in town. And I'm sorry, I didn't get into all that in the beginning because I was assuming that it was all in a packet and you already knew it, but the idea is rooted community and a central community. And the rootedness of the community encircles the community. And the tree is very well established as well. So it's harkens back to the idea of a town worth keeping. For instance, we talked about that in the midst of discovery. Silt wants to stay with its heritage and what it is, and it wants to stay rural and keep those roots. So that's really the main element of the design. Something that I heard when I was actually driving up here today that I was thinking about mentioning to you. I heard a quote, and I don't think this is exactly it, but something about sensitivity for the future and empathy for the future is the man who can plant a tree that he will never see. And it really resonated with me when I heard that, because the idea, you know what that means? The idea of planting a tree that you won't be here to see later on, but other people in the community will, descendants of the community will, is a powerful message. The other reason that we went with the tree, I think, is that it's sort of archetypal, and the tree speaks to everybody. It produces shade, it produces shelter, and nobody has mentioned, do you see any, Chris? I'll pick on you.
Is it one of those Freudian things
Yes.
that you, whatever that's called?
Sort of.
Yeah.
Do you see anything? No, really. Do you see anything in the tree? Look.
Yes, I do see a bird.
Okay.
I
Yes.
do see a bird on the left, yes.
Okay. So we talked about the little bit of a Where's Waldo effect, and did everybody see the bird?
He said he likes the bird, but he needs to see a
I
horseshoe
thought
in
it
there
should be a
somewhere.
horseshoe in the tree somewhere.
But that's
Okay.
Trustee Britnall for you.
Wow.
Typical
No
feedback from
personal-
Trustee
About the
Britnall.
I'm kidding. We're fine without the horseshoe.
So the bird is about roosting. The
Put it
bird
around
is
the
about
base of the
coming
tree.
to nest, right? Finding your nest, finding your roost. We talked about all the people that are in, I think you said that the average or median age here is, was it 34? Something like that?
I believe it's 31.
Okay, so it's people that are
31,
close,
32.
yeah. It's people that are thinking about their first home and starting families. So the idea of nesting, the idea of sheltering, the idea of shade, the idea of a place where you can come home and land is all intrinsic to the design. So we really have worked this out to get to a point of recommendation. What has gone into, I would say that we probably looked at 9 to 12 different designs. This wasn't easy. There was a lot of massaging the different elements, so to speak. We worked very hard on the nameplate. So the nameplate and the lettering is completely unique and customized. I want to talk a little bit about the swoop on the T, for instance, in the way that we did this font style. I told you in one of the earlier, or one of the previous meetings, that I was going to try to deal with, or work with, a designer of Hispanic descent, and I did. I worked with a designer who is Mexican, and it was really interesting. When I sat with her and showed her the design, it wasn't quite where it is right now. We had a different T. We worked a few subtle things in terms of, we had Western Colorado and we brought it to Colorado. But when she looked at it, and she was in her 20s, she had a great piece of feedback. The first word out of her mouth was, "I think it's dope." And to me, that was really good feedback, because it at least made me understand that it wasn't stuffy or stodgy. So to say that it's dope and resonant with her age group was a positive in my mind. But then, and I want to take you through that viewpoint of coming up with the font. I asked her about the font and what do you think about it? Because at that point I thought that it looked quite Western. And she said it does look really Western, but Western, so it has some Spanish nail head type of look on the edges, which is Western. And she said, Western will do for the Hispanic community. And we talked about going out to hear a Mexican band. And she said, everybody dresses in Western wear for an occasion like that. So Western is really suitable. However, there was a font style that we named in the beginning, Hacienda style. And it had a little bit more of curvature and traditional, swoop. And we brought that back with the T. So when I specifically sat with her, we kind of looked at some lettering, and I wanted to bring that T in. It's a little old-fashioned, as she described it to me in the Hispanic community. So for very young people, being very modern and contemporary is important. The Western is good. This swoop that we have in the T is just, it sort of tips a hat to a little bit of an older demographic in the Hispanic community, which I really liked, and I thought it was important. So we actually built it in. I brought it into a meeting. I mean, Nicole's eye is excellent, and Nicole blessed it, which I can't even tell you. I mean, if you weren't in the meetings, you can't understand. The committee has been particular. The committee has been vocal. The committee has advocated very strongly for the brand and been incredible to work with. But we've been put through our paces, and we have done a lot of work to come up with this. I don't want that to mean to you that you can't dislike it. You can dislike it. We can deal with that if you dislike it. But this is the recommendation as a result of that work. This is also the black and white phase. So this isn't to say, but I want to ask Nicole to speak, not to put you on the spot, but I wanted Nicole to speak a little bit about, talk about your impressions if you can, and a little bit about, as a committee, we all kind of like the black and white. Mm-hmm. So there's a real possibility that it could stay this way. Do you have anything that you want to add about?
Yeah, for what I use the logo for, I prefer a black and white logo. That way it mixes and matches with whatever color of flyer we end up putting it on, or advertisement that we put it on. And it makes it easier even to, like Chris's shirt, to embroider without the backwash of color. So I like the option of having a black and white. Not that I'm opposed to an option of backwashing it with color, but I do like the classic feel of black and white.
Is it going to be easy to reproduce? Like embroidered shirts, for example.
And I'll address a little bit about some of the diligence that we've done. So the nameplate is designed to live alone. right? We want the word silt to be able to come out and live by itself. Or we want it to work inside of the logo
Okay.
without the name, or I'm sorry, without the tagline. And then the third way is we want to be able to drop in the tagline as well. So 3 ways that it can
Oh,
live,
okay.
right? 3 ways.
Yeah.
So in terms of workability for signage, I've been dealing with sign companies from Colorado to Chicago and having conversations about the workability of this. How, and we touched on colors really, really early. This committee was so good that I've never brought in color this early, but I felt like we had a lot of good communication and trust as well. So we pushed it aside, but we looked at color and we started thinking about it, and then we went back to just looking at the black and white. That doesn't mean that we can't look at color again, but we got that aside, and then we kind of focused on things like the nameplate. With the sign companies that I've talked to, some of the higher dollar pieces of real estate, to me, one of the higher dollar is certainly doing a vehicle wrap. And then another higher dollar is putting a sign on the side of this building. It's also a very serious, it's a serious sign as well. So one of the things that we've done, which you wouldn't know if you haven't gone through the process, is we really thickened up the font for SILT. And the reason is that I talked to a sign company about, could we do something cool like backlit lettering that sort of is metal that stands out of the side of the building and is appropriately sized with LED lights behind them to light them at night. That's a really, beautiful looking way to do a sign. Or it could be just like the white sign, in here, maybe not white, but it could be on a background, and then it could be put on the side of the building. But what we wanted to make sure is that the lettering could be cut out and backlit and put on the edge of a fountain or a sign or what have you. So all the other merchandising we have thought through. I can't think of any merchandising that we couldn't do. A big nuance to this design is the shape. You'll notice that the shape is similar to the shape that you already have right now. It's a bit of a rectangle. Nicole is working with the logo all the time. So that was some feedback that was really important from Nicole, that's what we needed to do. And it wasn't this way in the beginning. In the beginning it was a circle, and then it was a square, and then we learned this is a shape that works well for us. So that's why it's the shape that it is at the end of the day.
No, I had a question.
Sure.
Is there a reason the roots are separate? Instead of solid in the middle? Because, looking at it for a while, that's the only thing I'm really thinking is if those roots were together, it would almost seem like you have a stronger foundation, a stronger base if they're connected.
Well, the reason that and actually, it's interesting. I actually had one printed out that way so that I could see it. We didn't come to that together as a committee. We came to it like this. I prefer it this way, and the reason is that the tree is kind of coming up through the I and the L.
Okay.
So, to your point, silt is meant to be a part of the structure. So it's meant to be structural.
And Chris, I just want to say I'm very thankful for all the work you've done and
sure.
all the committee work as well. I'm also looking for, as just feedback, unity. Because when you look at a tree is rooted and is united. It doesn't have much of a separation. So to Trustee Klassen's point, if we can make even the eye like any union of the tree, and it's just on the details. So it's a tree, maybe perhaps almost like together with the eye without the separation. Because if you look at it, any tree outside, it's not broken in the middle with spaces. That's just feedback.
Okay.
So
I also have a hand raised on the Zoom meeting from a citizen.
Okay, we'll grab them here in just a second.
Perfect, thank you.
I don't know if you guys share what I'm trying to portray.
I'm going to agree with Trustee Poston. I don't know if I like it, but some reason the silt is being lost. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. The silt, it seems like it's lost with the tree. I don't know. There's something you know, I don't know, the roots are taken away from the silt part, or I don't know, I'm just not seeing it.
Because right now we have the heron birds all together, united.
Yes.
So to change, I get the idea, I understand. I feel like there could be some work to portray that idea because I feel it's not on the paper yet.
What's the
My
idea?
opinion, but-
The idea is making a one tree, if you are going to incorporate a tree into the Silt's name, but maybe choosing a tree that would potentially have more of a shape of an eye. I don't know. It just feels two separate parts of a tree, and I feel it doesn't portray the message that Silt is the one uniting the tree, and I feel that the root, usually roots are like stronger and deeper. Maybe I'm going too deep, but this is the brand of the city, and we spent a lot of money on this project, and I feel we should be 100% sold on the logo that we choose for the town. And right now, I feel it still needs more of that vision that you portrayed into the picture itself,
Well, let me
Krista.
address a couple,
Yes,
a
please.
couple of those.
Oh, you have one
Let's
over
speak
there.
to what the committee came up with.
Yes.
So the way that the roots are, works with the shape that we need at the end of the day. And let me get into the reason that we need that shape. The reason that we need that shape, Nicole, do you want to talk about the reason we need that shape? Because you can probably describe it.
And this for me is not agreeing or disagreeing, it's about,
So-
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's all of that, and then there's sort of the right commercial application as well. So let's talk a little bit about the commercial application of it.
Yes, so the size and shape of the logo is pretty strategic in the sense that when all of logos are being put on a flyer together, the rectangular one tends to be front and center, and then everything kind of builds around it. So when we create our logos at the town, or we've had other entities add our logo and ask for feedback of how to fit all the logos onto one flyer, that is the base of what people build around, is that rectangular one. The circle ones kind of get put off into the corners or fill in the gaps or the empty spaces. So if we want to make sure that our logo, it has the ability to be more front and center, that's when we would try to stick to more of a rectangular shape, from my experience.
And so what I heard, as you said that, was that it's strategic.
It is.
It gives Silt a strategic advantage to arrive at that shape. So the reason that we addressed the roots in that way was to conform to the idea of that shape. And it has a strong look and an established look and a stylistic look and an elegant look, I think, at the end of the day. But I think that what we ought to do is focus in on the feedback in particular and take it back to the committee and decide, what do we want to do
I do
with that
have
idea?
a question, Chris. So what's the type of the tree again?
It's a cottonwood tree.
Is that the root type for that particular tree? Not looking for symmetry, but is that how the roots look like for that particular tree type? I feel like.
Hey!
This is
Oh,
arborist here.
John.
Hey, tree guy.
My comment is, I do a little, I'm a bad artist. Tree roots, and I've seen a lot of tree roots in my business. I think it's too sharp right here. It's too sharp. The tree, I think it needs a gradual bend here, so it comes out more naturally here. That's my opinion, being an arborist.
No, that's okay.
Thank you, John.
So the roots are
It
not.
looks like two L's there, like
The roots aren't literal, the roots are artistic. If you've ever seen, there was a play years ago called Into the Woods. And it's an artistic representation, so I think we should put that on our list of, let's talk about, do we want an artistic versus a realistic representation, and how strongly does that weigh in? So we'll take that, into consideration as we go
Okay,
back to it.
thank you,
Thank
Krista. Yeah.
Who else?
The only other thing to me, is that established in 19, whatever, it's kind of lost. It's kind of, I don't know where we could put it, just kind of lost in there. You really got to,
Or was
It's-
it maybe just a heavier font so it stood out a little
somehow,
more?
yeah,
Is that
just
what you're
something that's, you don't even, I mean, that's part of our heritage when we were established. To me, it just seems like it's kind of lost in there.
Well, and I should have, what we can do is we can break it down a little bit. The established 1915 is meant to work with the nameplate. So if the nameplate and established 1915 are alone together and they're existing outside of the logo, then we decided to put it under the L and the T. And since we standardized it under the L and the T, and in a nameplate you should always have it standardized, we left it that way as it lives inside of the logo, which is the right thing to do. I think that with-
It's not on that logo. I'm just gonna add that it's more prominent on the new design than it is on the existing.
yeah.
On the existing, it is barely visible above the T.
It's actually, and the upgrade over the current logo is that right now it's actually, Jim, isn't it sitting on top of the T?
It is.
Yeah, that is not good. So this is it's an improvement, I think, to put it under the L and the T, because kind of setting it on top of the T is almost a little jokey in terms of style. I think that clearly you've gotten away with that, and, Silt isn't jokey, but I really believe that it's an upgrade to put it under the L and the T. But we'll take under advisement what you're saying about having a hard time seeing it. If we make it bigger, then maybe it fights with the tagline.
I like it. It's just something about the roots, I don't know. That's just me.
What do you think of the font? I mean, because we get our own, part of the package that we're getting out of it is we get our own font. So when you're typing on the computer, we can go and use the Silt lettering, right? I mean, is that okay to explain it like that?
I can't put my finger on it, just something just isn't.
So-
I say the roots to me, I don't know, it's taken away from this, I don't know,
Yeah.
the Silt name or something, or,
I think, okay.
Yeah. So I like the silt. I like everything except the roots. I think the roots need to be one realistic looking set of roots and not symmetrical. I think that's what's throwing me off is everything else on there is not symmetrical.
Yeah, you're right. The
And then you
trees
get to the artistic design of the roots and it's a mirror image. And it just kind of, if we were a high-end brand, then maybe we're going for that symmetry look. But I think a realistic looking set of roots that don't match on each side would look better.
I think the symmetry is a better idea for a design. And you said that it has I'm glad that you said that, because I think it has a high end.
And but that's not, we're not Fendi, we're not Gucci, we are Colorado's hometown, so.
Yeah, we're not Aspen. Yeah.
Would you like it to look more country?
I would like to look like the real tree.
Like a real tree roots, I think, is all it takes, and real tree roots aren't symmetrical.
We have real tree roots. I'll go backwards, because in the beginning we had them. The reason that we developed it into this way is to get you a rectangle. And your rectangle is commercially strategic. So we had probably 5 or 6 sets of roots, to be honest with you. And we worked into this. So the symmetry, so let me ask you if a different word works for you. So take out the word upscale. It looks simple and it looks clean is another word for upscale for me. Derek, what do you think? If you were to opine on the upscale, could you substitute the words simple and clean?
While he's thinking, I drew up a few words that I would be looking for when I look at the logo. Representation, Krista, just one moment. Representation, accuracy, something that does resemble the history and the year, and symmetry. Those are the words that just, go ahead, Derek.
I don't think this meeting is meant to be, I don't want to turn it into too much of a working meeting.
Okay.
Let's decide to maybe do an email and get a bunch of feedback in email.
You think, Derek?
Well, or we have a work session over it, because I mean we are spending a good deal of money on this,
Do you
and
want to devote this work session?
I kind of want it.
I think what,
I mean,
I
not
think there's
tonight, but
enough
in the future.
feedback where I think it needs to go back to the committee.
Yeah, and I just want to
Okay.
add, we had a citizen who was
Yeah, we do
waiting
have
to make a
citizen.
comment. I want to, but before,
Give them a chance.
just to make sure
Yes.
that they
Yeah,
also have
I
a
think
chance
we
to
know where we're
participate.
going with this, so.
Can the committee talk, I'd like to hear the committee advocate for the logo a little bit. Let's-
I'd like to be able to hear you on the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, can we go ahead and unmute this citizen that,
Yeah, let's get that done and.
see what they have to say? Maybe they've got something that we all don't see. So.
So, in looking at the new proposed branding,
Just before you get started, can you state your
Um,
name for the record?
yeah, my name's Leanne Reichel,
Okay.
and I've lived in Silt for almost 20 years now. Very dedicated citizen, and so when I look at this proposed brand, I have to say that I agree with most of the board members in that the roots look really off. It's too symmetrical. The split down the middle of the trunk under the word silt, it just doesn't flow. I also want to state that I really like the heron that we have going on with our branding. The roundabout statues are beautiful, and I think that they are just something to really just be proud of having. They're just so pretty. And so when we change the logo to something that doesn't incorporate that, I worry about the disconnect of that whole heron and then now the cottonwood. I just think that, yeah, looking at the picture right now, the root system and everything except for established in 1915 under the word silt is very, very disconnected. And it just doesn't look proportional.
Okay.
And that's all.
I think that it sounds like we have a style issue, and I think that we want something that's a little country and it doesn't have any kind of a slick look, doesn't have an urban look. I want to advocate a little bit for why we have what we have, so we'll revisit this. By the way, the heron comment, and thank you so much, and I'm sorry, I want to call you by name, but I don't remember your name. I do remember everything that you said, and I take it seriously. I wanted to mention why the committee decided to move away from the heron. We've been talking about moving away from the heron for a while because of a Floridian look, and also wanting to move away from the cattails for that reason. So that's the answer to that question. I'm not saying it's the right answer ultimately, but it's why we've been working in the direction that we have been. Let me ask a couple of questions. I think that there is an issue with overall style. And I think that the issue with style comes out in the overall shape of the logo. And that's very much driven by the roots, from what I'm hearing. Is that sounding like I'm hearing correctly?
Yes, I the roots aren't jiving with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what if we come back and we show different roots? What if we came back and we showed, we had roots that were forming a circle, encircling the community at one point. That doesn't necessarily work, though. I want to defend what we're hearing from a communications standpoint at the town level. We're hearing that that presents a bit of an issue when we go to design a poster and we need to get a strategic position in printed materials. How big of an issue is that? I guess.
I'm fine with the rectangle. It's just the way the roots are laid out. I have the.
I think we just have to send it back to committee and look
Yeah.
at some different routes.
Okay.
Maybe a couple different ideas. I don't know. Like I say, I'm just not.
I think, we've heard the feedback from the board that the committee needs to do some more work, and I think that's what we need to do.
So my last question is, no rectangle if we can't do the roots this way. It won't be a rectangle anymore. Is that a big deal? Could we do an oval or a circle, or does anyone have?
I don't know that we have to
Well,
make that decision right now.
no, but
I
it
think-
should-
Do a root system that looks like
There
a
you
real
go.
tree, you just,
Yeah.
That could still be in
There
there.
you go.
it's still a rectangle.
It should be able to fit on a truck door. I mean, really.
Okay, okay.
And I'm not an artist, so
I'd
just
love
so
to
you know.
get your.
You sure?
That's
I
what I
know that.
envisioned. You drew what I've
That's what I
envisioned.
was envisioning right there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything to say, as long as we're coming?
Thank you, Krista.
No,
No.
the font I love.
Thank
No,
you.
I like the font, I like some of the
very
stuff.
And I like the
I'm
top
just,
of
but
the tree.
I'm not the artist. Now, if my wife was here, she would have a whole lot more to say than I do, but that's her
So
forte.
we're good with the font,
you
we're
bring
good
her.
with the cottonwood, we're good with Colorado's
I
hometown.
don't volunteer her for things. I get in
Yes?
trouble for that.
Yes.
Okay, that's a lot of agreement. That's good. That's all really good. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
But the citizen does have a point that I didn't think of. You know, we have the blue herons in the roundabout. What do we do?
Doesn't mean they have to
plant a
go
tree?
away.
They can still.
Doesn't
sign, yeah.
mean they have to go
Okay,
away.
good.
Well, and so what's the common denominator is nature. So you could have the herons, that's kind of one of the reasons that we have the tree as well. And everybody likes the tree? You like the idea of the tree? Okay.
Well, and like
good.
in the upper part of the tree, if we love the herons as much as we do, you could almost incorporate that in the tree somewhere, a flying heron
We have
instead
the
of just
bird
a
in the
little
tree.
bird.
That's
Yeah.
I know. I'm just saying
That's
there's
good.
a lot of things you could do in the tree
Oh,
that
it's-
maybe spaced out so it wasn't so black. But that's
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's good feedback.
Thank you, Krista.
Thanks for taking the time to think about it thoroughly. We definitely will take it into strong
Does
consideration.
anybody have a note that they want to give me, or?
I'll just,
What about your drawing of the roof?
I can email my drawing.
yeah, I just,
Yeah,
And
Those
if you have other
I'll just
comments,
email it.
email them to me,
Email them to Jim.
and we'll incorporate them in the next discussion,
Perfect.
in the next iterations, and we'll bring it back.
yeah.
And I've been trying to use my own shorthand version of everybody's feedback, so I've got 20 different bullet points here about different bits and parts of it, so we have enough.
All right.
I think the subcommittee and Krista did great. It's just now we're
Making it-
instead of 3 or 4 people, now we're in front of
Yeah.
7 to
I mean,
10
we're gonna
people,
spend a
so-
lot of
Yeah.
money on this. I think we need to make it right, so
Yeah.
everybody agrees
Well,
on it.
again, let me just tick off where we're good, just to make sure. So we're good with the nameplate, we're good with that font style, and that's customized. We're good with Colorado's hometown. That's a lot of progress. We're good with the tree concept.
Mhm.
So I would say that we're really getting there. And all we need to do is artistically just change the style.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Cool.
I got it.
Thank you, Krista.
Okay. The next item up on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance number 8, series 2025. An ordinance of the town of Silt, Colorado, setting the title and content of a ballot issue for a tax on tobacco and tobacco products to be submitted at the election to be held on November 4th, 2025. This is a public hearing, but I'll turn it over to Manager Mann.
Second reading of the ordinance that would place the question on the ballot that would create a tobacco and nicotine product tax on products sold in the town of Silt. It's estimated to generate approximately $250,000 on an annual basis. The proceeds of the tax would be dedicated to park improvements, parkland purchases, recreation programs, and town special events only. And this tax would mirror the current tax and trajectory of the town of Newcastle's tobacco and nicotine product tax.
The only, so we're up to 350,000,
250.
325.
We think it's going to generate 250,000. When you do a ballot initiative, aim high.
Aim high, so if it-
Because the experience that the town of Newcastle had when they implemented their tax, they suspended it, I think it was in the second quarter, because they generated too much money in the first
Okay.
year.
All right. All right. Any discussion before we open the public hearing?
No.
All right. The time is 7:49 PM, and I'll open up the public hearing in regards to ordinance number 8, series 2025. Persons dying to make a public comment on this agenda item, please activate the raised hand function in the meeting program. Or Lori, any phone calls or emails in regards to this agenda item?
There are no phone calls, Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
I have no raised hands, Mr. Mayor.
thank you. Then the time is now 7:49 PM, and I will close the public hearing and open up to further discussion by the board or motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance number 8, series 2025 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Seifert to approve the second reading of ordinance number 8, series 2025 as presented. That was seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Hanrahan. All those in favor?
Aye.
All's opposed? Motion passes 7-1, or 7-0, sorry, unanimously.
One, we got
7-1,
loan.
we got an extra.
The ghost center.
Yeah. Okay. Motion passes unanimously. All right, next up is the first reading of ordinance number 10, series 2025, an ordinance of the town of Silt, Colorado, creating various sections within Title 17 regarding the regulation of mobile food vendors of the Silt Municipal Code within the town of Silt, Garfield County, state of Colorado. Also a public hearing, but I will turn this over to Manager May.
And I'm going to pick on Director Centeno, since she's the one that actually wrote this memo this time and had the final hand and say in drafting the version of the ordinance that you have before you this evening.
Alrighty. So the town is currently functioning with a food truck moratorium until we were able to figure out what regulations we needed to put forth as a municipality. And this ordinance has gone from the subcommittee to the Planning and Zoning Commission, all with the recommendation of forwarding it to the Board of Trustees. I'm just going to highlight a couple of items. Within the ordinance, we defined fixed operation and short-term operation. The fixed operation is anything that's going to be 3 consecutive days or more. The short term is going to be 3 consecutive days or less, not exceeding 5 days in any given month. So even if a month had 5 weeks, that would be once a week that it would allow a short-term operation to come in. We came to the 3 consecutive days or more or less within those definitions based off of the Colorado public health regulations, that if they're considered a permanent operation if they're 3 consecutive days or more. They have to have a different kind of licensing. So we mimicked what the public health does. The bigger highlights out of the ordinance is that we established zoning and location for where short-term and long-term operation and fixed operations can take place. There are some regulation where it's prohibited. We prohibited it in all residential zone districts with the thought process that that is supposed to be residential zoning. And if somebody did want to have a block party and have a food truck, there is a way that they can do that through a sponsored event. The commercial zone districts, it's going to be a special use operation licensing that's needed. With that being said, right now, currently, we've been putting food trucks through a site plan review. We would now, through this ordinance adoption, have everybody as a special use. So the site plan review was a planning and zoning approval. The special use would go through not only planning and zoning, but ultimately would come to the Board of Trustees for a final approval, which is where you could set different conditions of approvals and recommendations for different locations that can be more individualized to who is applying for what and where. We did put some verbiage in there on, there's still a site plan needed within the special use permit, but it'll be handled as a special use. And there's guidance on what would need to be provided, what is defined as accessory structures, and violations, and some guidance on maintenance and regulations. And then in 1713, we would add it to the schedule of uses as fixed operation, mobile food vendor, declaring where it would be that special use. And that is all that I was going to highlight, but if you've read through it and you have questions, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I have a question or two.
Yes, ma'am.
So back up on the 4th page of the ordinance, it said under accessory structures, it just, right below that, it says may propose accessory structures including, and I think that's meant to say like applicants may propose accessory structures. I don't know if that needs to be reworked or not, but then it says, the town may require the removal of accessory structures if, and so dilapidated, unsafe, or nuisance, or violate the code, can we put something also in there just that if it's an eyesore? I don't want it to be construed that we have to prove nuisance in court to tell someone to take their stuff down.
Well, that's legalese.
That's what we're getting into, unfortunately, here.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
I just, we
If
can
it's
certainly.
ugly, I want it to say ugly or eyesore or something. I don't want it to have
You
to
don't wanna
rise
have
to
to
the
go to the
level of
level of
unsafe.
nuisance.
I mean, those two, obviously, but something a little easier on us to say, like, that's just hideous. Or, you know, I mean, it's
Well, that
the
could be in the eye
purpose.
of the beholder.
Sure, but
so
the
that's not
purpose
necessarily something
is,
easy to prove.
the purpose is aesthetic. I mean, that's one of the
But I
purposes
think,
of the.
I do understand if nuisance becomes a bar that is difficult to achieve,
Yeah, we
maybe
shouldn't
there
just
needs to be
throw it around.
some
What if we claim
flexibility
it's
built
art?
into that.
You know?
That's the problem, is you claim
Yeah.
it's art, so, then it could be an eyesore.
Rails off.
Right. And then the only other thing was I think there is a typo that's like important, which is on the following page, the 5th page under section 4. If any section, subsection, blah, 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 of this competent jurisdiction to be valid, void, or unconstitutional, that should say invalid. Void or unconstitutional.
Okay,
And then that's all.
okay.
Thanks.
We're happy with critical reviews of what we write.
Good. Yeah,
no,
thank
I'd
you.
much rather have that review done
Yeah,
now.
now's the time. Yeah.
Well, that's
In front of
annoying,
the
but
judge.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it does save some headache, and I've seen some really ridiculous legal battles ensue over a dumb typo like that, where
Okay.
you just don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
Anyways. But it looks wonderful, and thank you for all your hard work. I hate sounding like a nitpicking person, because that's not
You know,
what I'm
now's
trying
the
to
time
do.
to catch it.
Oh,
That's
no.
why we have so many eyes looking at
Yeah,
things.
yeah, but it's fabulous, you know.
I'd rather have the nitpicking now than
After the
after
fact.
we've adopted it and
We're
somebody
trying to
says,
enforce
well,
it in court.
right.
Yeah, after they're like,
Absolutely.
oh,
And I-
look at this typo that I
And
noticed.
and I'm sure the people that are writing the citations and then the judge would appreciate more clarity than anything else.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and communication
I
is
do,
good.
for joking aside, I appreciate
Good.
the look.
Okay. And I think that, you know, like I said, we wouldn't want to get ourselves into a situation where someone says, this is my art, or this is whatever, and it's not a nuisance, and if you want me to take it down, you're going to have to prove that it's a nuisance. I would rather put in language that gives us the authority to guide the aesthetic value, you know, because that's the intent of it.
Would it be enough to say unsightly instead of hideous? Just because it might be a little less offensive to somebody?
Whatever the word, I would defer to our very extremely competent legal counsel on what word they think. But I don't think it needs to rise to the level of nuisance or unsafe for us to be able to say that it needs to go necessarily. And again, we should always use that
Perhaps
authority
we
fairly.
should prohibit art.
All of it.
Just art you don't like.
Well, no, prohibit art on mobile home food sites so that we can't deal with the eye of the beholder.
It's a logo, though. A logo is art.
True.
So, I don't know. Ugly.
We'll work with Attorney Sawyer to address that 5B sub 5B.
Okay.
Should make the motion with the change.
Is that, are we ready for a motion?
No, it's still a public hearing. I've got one question also.
Yes.
The ice cream man.
Screaming?
He drives through a residential neighborhood to sell his product out of a mobile food establishment.
He does.
Quite often too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So under this, he would not be able to sell in a residential neighborhood.
So he's selling within the right of way. They could get.
I'm not sure that this ordinance is meant to, or it doesn't deal with that use. If you want it to deal with that use, we probably would need to draft something. But this wasn't intended for the ice cream truck.
For people who don't park and they just
Yeah.
stop in the
Yeah,
road.
but what if somebody says, well, yeah, if that guy's selling ice cream, why can't I sell burritos in the same way?
I mean, there's commercials about that, or memes, I should say.
Didn't all of that came up to us to revise because the state had approved something that overrode the local some
The state adopted language this past year that requires us to accept licensure from other jurisdictions without having to do extra diligence.
and we adopt our own due diligence. That's why we are drawing this code. This is just a recap, just so we
This is-
the forefront.
This is really about regulating
Our town.
more so the locating of a food truck that's going to sit there more on a permanent basis.
Perfect, because
We do have the language in there that refers to the temporary use, which is not more than 3 consecutive days.
And I can reach out to public health too and see how I guess a traveling food truck is actually licensed through their system also, if they're licensed as a temporary, or if they even have to have licensing. I would assume that they do because they're temperature controlled. So we can add a traveling section, a traveling mobile food vendor section, and figure out what that looks like with public health too.
That's another thing that can lead to conflict, is just saying nothing when
Yeah.
people are gonna wanna know, so.
Well, and again, we want to get it right. So if there's more work that needs to be done, perhaps at this point, send it back to the committee. And don't go forward with it, and let us address the questions that you have. And we'll bring back something that deals with that type of vendor before we go any further.
Yeah, well, take away my ice cream truck, he stops right in the corner.
I know.
Don't know on that if you take that.
Don't let me take him away. That's, I mean,
He stops
see
in that
under this
park
that
and
he
them
can't
kids come
sell in
out
a
and I go over there and
residential
have a fun time.
If
by the
someone
gazebo.
wants to sell burritos, and do follow the same rules,
Yeah.
just come before the ice
Yeah,
cream
I
truck, so
think
I
we-
can have
yeah.
my burrito, and then my ice cream after.
There you go.
Figure that out.
I'll accept the blue ice cream truck exemption.
the only thing, do we need to do something about extending the moratorium?
I think we still have time. We still have time into November.
Oh, okay.
We extended it. I'll tell you the exact, I think.
Yeah.
You weren't here. I
It was
think.
Okay, I was just seeing February 10th is when it
Yeah,
was.
so I think we did
Yeah, we
extend
just
it.
extended it.
Mid-November now,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was 2 meetings ago, we
Okay.
extended it.
Perfect. Okay.
I remember thinking, we have way more time. Good job getting this back in front of us with that much time.
And one of the other things that I missed highlighting was we did limit the food trucks to 1 per 500 population. So
We can have 7 right now?
we
Yes.
would be at our capacity right now.
I
And
thought-
that's for
Well,
the-
we'd have 1 more.
We have
We would
one
have
more.
the option for 1 more.
But that's for people who want to stay long-term versus like the people who come in for heydays are not part of that. set,
Correct.
Yes, those are a special event.
Which made total sense when I read it, by the way.
Yeah.
The extension of the moratorium takes us to November 30th.
Okay,
Oh, okay, end of
Should
November.
be fine, hopefully.
plenty of time then, yeah.
So that gives us time to have it on the next agenda. We should be able to run it through relatively quickly.
Yeah.
And we will likely have to renotice.
Okay.
That's fine, yep.
It was noticed as a public hearing. Do you want to see if anybody in the public wants to speak to this before we?
Do we have to renotice or could they continue it?
Well, we certainly could, we could open the public hearing and hold the first reading tonight, and then direct it to go back to the committee before the second reading, which would set the timeline. So maybe we wouldn't need to renotice.
Notice?
I don't think we need to renotice. We can just continue it and do the changes as recommended.
Did you say we need to renotice or don't?
We do not need to if they're going to continue it.
Or are you saying that we approve it
We
with
approve first reading with
additions
changes.
of these things to the next?
We do all the
Continuance
changes.
would be different than
Yeah,
an
it's completely
approval.
different, because you have to do the first reading again versus accepting the first reading, but then asking for the addition of those two items.
But if we're gonna accept the first reading, we need to open it for public comment, I think.
Just send it back and come back. We still got plenty of time.
I think since I think that the potential for the mobile food truck could potentially change quite a bit in the ordinance, and I think I'd rather do 2 readings of everything.
Yep,
Clear.
that's fine.
So let me ask a question related to the ice cream truck, just for lack of a better. Is it the intention of the board that you want to ensure that it has the ability to continue? Or is it the intention of the board that you'd like to put some restrictions?
I want it to be able to continue.
Okay, all right.
Continue.
And you just want to make sure that this
That
is,
they're not considered a
Got it.
mobile food
Yep.
truck and they can't sell in a residential area. That's-
got it.
I don't want the blanket ban on residential for these other types of food trucks to somehow cause issues for the ice cream trucks,
All
because
right.
they're not bothering anyone.
Yeah.
That's my position.
Fair enough. We'll take that back and we'll do some work on it.
Okay.
Okay, so we will have a motion to continue if someone would like to.
Mr.
I
Mayor,
mean,
I'll
I can
make
be
a-
the 8th trustee, but
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to continue the first reading of ordinance number 10, series 2025.
So,
Okay.
I'll just sit here and be quiet.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Hanrahan to continue the first reading of ordinance number 10, series 2025. Seconded by trustee Brittenall. All's in favor?
Aye.
All's opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Up next is the July 2025 financial report. I will turn this over to Treasurer Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me start my timer so I don't go over. So 58% of the year has gone by. We're doing quite well in our sales tax. We're at 66.9% of what we thought we were going to get for the year, a little over $1 million. It is, we had 168,000 collected in the month of July, which was, technically for June, some maybe even May. General fund is looking well with our revenues at 64%. Conservation trust fund is a little lower. Water fund, wastewater fund is a little low. Victim assistance fund, we're higher than the time that has elapsed for the year. The economic development revolving fund is low. We just haven't made that transfer for giving a loan if we are doing work out at the Silt River Preserve. So that may not happen this year if we don't get grants. Use tax, we're a little low at only 54.5%, but we're right on target for our trash fees, our water fees, wastewater fees, and our irrigation fees for the time that has elapsed in this year. And I'll answer any questions you might have.
Why is the beautification fund low? Only at 24.9%, just out of curiosity.
So that is our lodging tax, and we have one of our so during the summer months we get funds from the KOA. Winter months it goes down, so we're just starting to get those from the KOA. And then we have one establishment in town that doesn't turn things in a timely manner. And they are aware that I am aware.
Uh-oh.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Thank you, Treasurer Tucker.
Sales tax numbers look great.
Look great, yeah.
They do.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll hope it keeps going up next month.
Me too.
Okay. Next item is manager and staff comments.
The only thing I'm going to add to my report this evening is that the Town of Silt is hosting the regional dinner for CML on September 11th out at the Silt River Preserve. And I need to know how many of you would like to attend.
It's like, that's the same day as Laugh Your Tail Off.
I
but
have to
that's
say yes,
October.
right?
You do have to say yes.
I literally put you up to this.
Yes. I'll be
I'm
there.
in.
I'm in. Thursday. And I'll bring a +1 if I'm allowed to.
Do you really want to? They might, they might not be your +1 anymore
That's
if you
true.
force
You're
them to
right.
sit through a CML dinner.
-1?
Oh, is it?
Calling for a -1?
How much free food is involved?
Dinner, but
Not enough.
He might want to go laugh your tail. No.
Right, right.
Is that
Yeah.
Laugh Your Tail Off?
No,
It's
that's
No, it is-
Thursday.
It is
Yeah, I
not.
was like, I don't think so, but yeah.
Yeah, that. I need to come to the States.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
What time?
Dinner starts, cocktail hour, I believe at 5 or 5:30, and dinner's at like 6:30, and we're done by 7:30, 8 o'clock.
You can put me down.
Okay.
I'll go hang out with Derek.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Jim knows now that anytime I come back from one of those, I've likely signed us up for the next one. So he'll stop sending me to them eventually.
I'll stop not going to them.
We'll stop sending you unsupervised.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Nothing else? Okay. Any other staff members have an update they want to throw out there?
Concert Thursday,
The last
rain or
one.
shine. Hopefully more shine.
Can
It'll
I-
be fun,
I'm sorry.
yes.
Can I ask a question about the utility billing issue?
Yes.
Did the vendor make us aware when it was happening, or
No.
did they said nothing until we heard from citizens and then followed up with them and said what happened?
And we followed up. We have spent a fair amount of time working with them. They had some procedural problems that crept up when they changed some things on their end that caused the problem. And now we have put safeguards in place so that we should not have that same problem. And
They also updated their notification policy so
Yes,
that
that's
when
part
it's
of-
that's
that-
my larger concern when I read that
that's-
was mistakes are going to happen, but for them to not tell us is the problem.
I'm not sure they understood and knew what had happened until well after the fact when we questioned it.
And this is their business. They do this for a living.
Hence the change in policies. The higher-ups that we talked to were very apologetic and put in place much more robust safeguards and notifications to us if there is an issue.
I also had a question for community development. Can you tell us more about Jordan Wakefield?
Yes, sir.
mean, this is good news. I want to make sure that this gets
Yes.
balloons or something. Like, this is kind of a big, this is a good get for us.
Yep. Jordan has been working with us seasonally for just about 2 months now, and stepped into trying to help us digitize this summer. So she has been very diligent about scanning thousands of papers and kept herself busy all summer helping us achieve some of our goals that we were hoping to achieve for 25. And in the midst of that, she initially told us that she was going to go back to college full time. And after meeting with her guidance counselor, was able to find a path that enabled her to get her degree by going to college one full day out of the week, allowing her to still work for the town several days a week. So she has applied to stay on and learn the code enforcement and permit technician side of community development. And we believe that she's going to be a great addition, and she's ready to jump in and help where needed.
And we're ready to have her jump in and help where needed because we have overhanging trees.
I mean, code enforcement's been a challenge for multiple years now.
Oh,
Finding another person to do it has been a challenge. We've talked about it
Yes.
regularly, online and offline. This is a big win for us. And I wanted to make sure I congratulated you on getting it done and getting her hired.
She's a great addition to the town.
Let's say this, it's important that she's already got a relationship with staff.
Yes.
They have a relationship with her, so you know that's gonna work well. It's worked well so far. We pray that it continues.
Yes.
And then also that she knows what she's getting herself into. It's not somebody that's just taking a job going, oh, I'm gonna do this. She knows what she's expected.
She's been in the chaos for 2
Yep,
months and wants
exactly.
to stay, so.
And this is going to save you a lot of hours as well, between,
It will.
not so much with code enforcement, but permit issuance.
Yes.
I know is a significant drain on your time.
It is, and she's eager and excited to learn it all.
Nice. And as Mr. Lepkowski said, probably more than 25% of violations that we point out to people, they'll just take care of. This is a soft touch endeavor. It's not hey, we're coming after everybody. It's, hey, did you know that you're supposed to keep a clearance?
We just didn't realize it'd gotten that way.
Right.
Because
Or
see it every day, so
didn't
it
notice
creeps
it.
down, They don't
'cause-
notice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big win. Congrats.
Yes, thank you. We're excited.
Okay, awesome. Updates from the board and board comments? Trustee Wilson.
Thank you. Big shout out for the Heydays Committee. Once again, we had a very successful event. I was there a few times throughout the day, and just really fun, nice. The weather was amazing, and we got all the rain the day after. So, praisers for everyone that put that event together for Silt. It's a big event for Silt, and it is an event that does bring the community together. I've heard compliments from Commissioner Perry. He was there and he gave compliment to the commissioners that organized Heydays, giving them and us all the thumbs up. That once again they put up an amazing event. So thank you very much.
Okay. Trustee Engelhardt.
I also enjoyed Heydays, and I was thrilled to see the number of vendors. And, I could run my credit card, or they were. I said, "Are you on the town Wi-Fi?" Of course, I was asking questions like that, and they said it was working great. So I was very happy about all that.
Shout out to Micro Solutions
Yes.
for making sure everything was up and running. They scrambled a little bit for us at the end, but we want to make sure that it's easy for the vendors.
Awesome. Yeah. And I do feel like we have more control over the Wi-Fi that we provide versus the cell phone signal. So I'm glad that we're utilizing that avenue. And that was just really great. I'm so grateful to have Heydays. And then the other thing was I actually got some feedback from a citizen that I thought this was really smart. They're right here by the library. I think I agree with this person that we need a 4-way stop sign right there. Because there are a ton of kids coming out and it's right off of Highway 6. People are going too fast. There's the liquor store right there. God forbid someone's heading for round 2. And this person actually said this is kind of a petty thing, but I don't think it's petty at all, actually. And so, for safety, another 2 stop signs wouldn't cost us much, and I think that could prevent like a pedestrian death. Really, that seems like a kind of vulnerable spot. So just somebody mentioned that to me, and like I said, they thought it was a petty thing, but I thought it was a really good feedback, and
Okay,
there you go.
we'll look into it.
Wonderful.
Trustee Britnell.
So I want to say thank you to everybody that came to Heydays and whatnot. It was a lot of fun. A lot of work goes into that. Anybody that does enjoy it, if you would like to give some time and participate on the committee, we'd love to have some more individuals and some extra people. More hands makes the work lighter. And even if you specialize in a certain thing, you don't want to be at all the meetings or things, but you want to give to a certain area. It's a great ideas. There will be some feedback for surveys going out, one for the public and then one for the vendors. We don't have them yet, but when they'll watch the Facebook website or the website, we'll make sure we point it out to you so people can look for that, because we definitely are always looking for feedback to make it better.
Okay. Trustee Clausen.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who was at Heyday, whether you worked the event or you just attended the event. Thank you all for coming and being there, and a shout out for Public Works, just for everything they did, putting up the tent and helping set up the stage and tear it down and barricades, and just wanted to thank Public Works for everything that they've done for Heydays all these years. And yeah, thank you everyone.
Trustee Seifert.
Yeah, same thing. I had a lot of feedback from citizens which is kind of nice, citizens get back to you, and they all agreed it was kind of a good Heydays this year. A lot of citizen participation. Parade was really good, so vendors, so everybody had a good time.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem.
Special thanks to Justin and Chris, who put in significantly more time than the rest of us in planning and execution of the Heyday event. I saw you guys running around most, if not all day into the night. So you guys deserve special thanks for that. One of the things that I heard from a few citizens that I was talking with regarding Heyday was, don't get too big, right? And they kept referencing Mountain Fair. Like, don't get too big, don't grow too fast, which I thought was interesting, because they also liked having more vendors.
But not
They
too
liked
many.
having music all day. So
Yeah.
it's a weird dichotomy there, where people were saying, it's great having more vendors, but don't get too big.
But don't get carried away.
Right.
I totally agree.
There's a certain rate of increase that we need to somehow figure out.
Keep it like this.
Maybe it involves a pair of dice or something. The other more serious thing that I just wanted to mention to everyone briefly is that the Colorado River Valley Chamber of Commerce is going to be pursuing a CTO marketing grant, and its value is about $20,000. Not about, it is $20,000, and it requires a local match of $5,000. And the goals with this grant are the following. They want to establish a regional visitor center at their new 3rd Street location. I don't know if any of you have been there, but they want to put a visitor center right at the front. And that will basically function as an in-person hub for visitors. It'll be on Google Maps and such. It'll be easy for people to find. But one of the things that I wanted to make sure was clear about that in particular was that they're not only going to be pushing rifle entities and rifle businesses, they're going to be pushing all of the chamber members, regardless of your zip code, depending on what service the visitor is asking for. So if they're asking about restaurants, it could be one of our food trucks, it could be Miner's Claim, it could be pizza. It's not going to be isolated to that zip code. So they wanted to make sure that I was clear about that. A couple of other things they're going to be doing. They're going to create a new brochure that promotes regional tourism, and the storyline is essentially what to do for 3 days in the Colorado River Valley. So it'll be activities, dining, lodging, kind of the full spectrum of what someone would do on a trip here. They're also going to improve the tech integrations at the visitor center, some scannable QR codes, a tablet or two, so people can just look at stuff to do around if they don't have a fancy phone with them. And then the last piece is a multi-segment marketing campaign, which means they're going to spend some of the money to reach out to locals, to nearby visitors, state level, and potentially nationally. So that's what this money is going into. The big, sort of the major takeaway is setting up this visitor hub in downtown Rifle. I think it's a great idea. I've worked with some of the chambers in the Roaring Fork Valley, and they generally have, if they don't have a dedicated tourism group, they have a visitor center in one of their buildings because they already know all the businesses, and it's an easy single stop for guests to come to, visitors to come to get all the information about whatever they're looking for. I also think it's going to increase the chamber membership. So I think it provides value for us as a community and for our local businesses here. So they're asking us, I guess me, as a member of their board, to write a letter supporting that so that they can submit it with their grant request. And I was planning to do it, but I wanted to make sure that I had at least the majority of the board supporting that letter. Or if you have any questions or concerns about it, I just wanted to make sure I gave everybody an opportunity to ask.
It's a great initiative.
Yeah, that space is going to be great.
I think that's why we're a part of that group, you know, to seek benefits like that, so. Sounds like a worthwhile venture to me.
They're doing a lot of good stuff. This is one piece of it, but they definitely are having more of an outward view and less of an inward view towards how to grow their membership, how to grow their value and shift their value proposition. I think this is a big piece. And I want to give a particular tip of the hat to Erin Hunt, their new executive director. She's been doing a tremendous job. I've been very, very impressed with her. Okay, then I will take care of that letter and get it written. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was all I have.
All right. And I've got nothing. Everybody else said it. So we do have an executive session. So I will read that, and then we can take a quick break to get that set up. So I move to go into executive session to discuss the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of any real, personal, or other property interest under CRS Section 24-6-4024A, the Roy Moore property, and the Corral Mobile Home Park property, and for a discussion of a personnel matter under CRS Section 24-6-4024F, the town administrator's evaluation. Somebody second that.
Second?
Okay. Motion by the mayor to enter executive session for the stated purposes, seconded by trustee Poston. All's in favor?
Aye.
All's opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Yes.